March doesn't arrive loudly in K-pop. It creeps in, heavy with anticipation, carrying the kind of tension that only insiders and longtime fans recognize. This year, that tension has a name everyone is afraid to say too confidently. A full group BTS comeback. 14 tracks. Rumors of a global tour so massive it could dominate calendars for years. Ticket demand already predicted to collapse systems before sales even open. This isn't nostalgia. This is gravity. When BTS moves, the industry doesn't simply react, it reorganizes itself around them. What makes this moment dangerous isn't just BTS returning, it's what their return does to everything else. Algorithms realign. Media attention narrows. Casual listeners who drifted away from K-pop suddenly reappear. For labels, this kind of surge is both a blessing and a threat. Because when attention spikes this hard, intentions are exposed. Every delay, every silence, every vague promise suddenly feels deliberate. That's where Blackpink quietly enters the conversation. Not through fan-made rivalry narratives, but through timing that feels increasingly uncomfortable. YG Entertainment's messaging has been a masterclass in ambiguity. Teasers without dates. Dates without confirmation. Promises framed as patience tests. A November release hinted at, then erased. Investor anxiety rising with every quarter that passes without clarity. By late 2025, the narrative shifted to early 2026, wrapped in the familiar corporate language of quality control. But patterns don't disappear just because companies refuse to name them. Each delay pushes Blackpink closer to the same window BTS is expected to dominate. Fans notice. Analysts notice. History shows this isn't unprecedented. Massive releases landing side by side don't cancel each other out. They amplify chaos. Attention multiplies. Debate fuels visibility. And in an industry where silence is more dangerous than competition, proximity can be a strategy, not a mistake. This isn't about clashes, it's about leverage. About standing close enough to a cultural earthquake that the aftershocks lift everyone nearby. When two giants move at once, music becomes numbers, loyalty becomes defense, and fandoms become unpaid marketing armies. It's exhausting, it's profitable, and it's exactly how K-pop's biggest moments are engineered. If you want to understand how power, timing, and fandom psychology collide behind the scenes of K-pop's most explosive eras, stay with me. Follow the channel, subscribe, and keep watching, because this story is only getting started. Once the noise around comeback timing fades, a more uncomfortable conversation takes over, one fandoms rarely enjoy having out loud. K-pop sells itself as endlessly innovative, constantly redefining pop culture, always one step ahead. It's a comforting story, especially for fans who invest emotionally in believing their favorite groups are pioneers. But beneath the polish, the reality is far less romantic and far more calculated. Lately, more releases feel familiar in a way that's hard to ignore. Not because they're bad, but because the sounds echo trends that already lived and breathed in Western charts, clubs, and online spaces long before K-pop industrialized them. Minimalist production, nostalgic textures, short runtimes built for streaming loops, soft vocals floating over rhythms designed for algorithms, not stages. These ideas didn't appear overnight. They were circulating globally, quietly gaining traction, before K-pop repackaged them with flawless visuals and relentless promotion. This is where the illusion begins to crack. Innovation, in this context, often just means unfamiliarity. A sound feels new because it's new to a specific group or fandom, not because it's never existed before. K-pop's real strength has never been invention, it's execution. The industry excels at identifying momentum early, amplifying it faster and louder than anyone else, and selling it back as something revolutionary. That process isn't inherently wrong. Global pop thrives on shared influence. The tension comes when borrowed ideas are defended as originality, and anyone pointing out the blueprint is treated like an enemy. That defensiveness exposes insecurity. If the system were confident in its strengths, it wouldn't need to deny its references so aggressively. Speed is the engine here. K-pop listens closely to what's trending, what's viral, what's dominating timelines and playlists, then feeds it through the idle machine at maximum efficiency. But speed has consequences. When trends shift, K-pop shifts instantly, sometimes so fast that the seams show. The melodies feel familiar. The structures feel predictable, not illegal, not plagiarized, just unmistakably traced. And when an industry refuses to admit what it's doing, it sets itself up for bigger conflicts down the line. If trend chasing is the glossy surface issue, money is where the cracks turn structural. Nothing exposes the imbalance of power in K-pop faster than settlement disputes. Because this is where fantasy collides with payroll. Recently, attention shifted toward one company whose situation felt less like routine accounting delays and more like a warning light flickering behind the scenes. Reports began circulating that millions of dollars in artist payments were allegedly unsettled across multiple labels under the same corporate umbrella. What made the situation unsettling wasn't the rumor itself, but the names attached to it. These weren't struggling rookies or forgotten acts. They were established, profitable artists with packed schedules, sold-out shows, and constant visibility. Touring periods came and went, encore dates were added, merchandise moved at scale. Touring is supposed to be the clearest revenue stream in the industry, the part that's hardest to obscure. So when allegations suggested that touring cycles passed without proper settlement, people stopped dismissing it as paperwork and started seeing it as a system under strain. Behind closed doors, frustration allegedly grew. Quiet complaints. Private venting. That behavior doesn't come from artists casually waiting on processing delays. It comes from patience eroding. Publicly, the company response followed a familiar script. Statements about negotiations, contract terms, internal adjustments, and possible legal steps. Language that sounded professional, plausible, and intentionally hollow. No dates, no figures. No confirmation that payments were complete. Just enough structure to slow scrutiny without offering clarity. Fans are often told they don't understand how settlements work, as if complexity excuses opacity. But settlement in K-pop isn't abstract. It's wages. It's how artists pay staff, support families, and survive in careers that burn fast and demand constant output. When multiple high-level acts appear tied to the same dispute, it stops feeling like coincidence. It starts feeling like a warning about what happens when expansion outruns stability. Whether every allegation proves true or not almost becomes secondary. The deeper issue is that the system allows this fog to exist at all. Contracts favor companies, delays hide behind clauses, and artists, even famous ones, are pressured into silence to protect future work. When profit accelerates faster than accountability, someone always absorbs the cost. What makes situations like this especially dangerous is how normal they've become. Financial tension surfaces, and the burden almost never lands on executives or shareholders. It lands on artists, staff, and fans who are told to be patient, to trust the process, to stop speculating. Companies lean heavily on the idea that settlement is complicated, that audits take time, that delays are part of the system. Sometimes that's true. But complexity becomes a shield the moment transparency disappears. This is where power dynamics quietly do their work. Artists are bound by contracts that punish public dissent. Speaking up risks being labeled difficult, ungrateful, or unprofessional. Careers in K-pop are short, fragile, and deeply dependent on reputation. One wrong move can close doors permanently. Silence becomes survival, not agreement. Meanwhile, fans are encouraged to redirect frustration sideways instead of upward. Rival fandoms become targets. Chart battles, streaming wars, and online arguments explode, pulling attention away from structural issues. The system benefits when fans fight each other. As long as loyalty is expressed through numbers and defenses, no one has to explain where the money went or why delays keep happening. Even when payments are eventually made, the damage lingers. The system doesn't change. The lesson taught isn't accountability, but endurance. Endure the wait. Endure the pressure. Endure the silence. And for newer or smaller artists watching from the sidelines, the message is chilling. If top-tier names can allegedly wait months for earnings, what chance does anyone else have? This isn't about one company or one dispute. It's about an industry designed to move fast, earn faster, and explain later. When the machine feels strain, it doesn't slow down, it accelerates. More releases, more tours, more content, more pressure. Someone always pays the price, and it's rarely the people at the top. When all the noise finally settles, one uncomfortable truth remains impossible to ignore. Behind every massive comeback, viral trend, and record-breaking number, there is a system built on pressure, silence, and endurance. K-pop's global success has never been just about music. It's about controlling timing, shaping narratives, and managing labor in a way that keeps the machine moving no matter the cost. Strategic release windows turn fandoms into weapons. Trend cycles are sold as innovation. Financial disputes are buried under legal language until attention drifts elsewhere. These stories matter not because they destroy the fantasy, but because they explain it. They reveal how easily passion becomes profit, how loyalty is redirected, and how accountability is delayed until it fades. As long as fans are busy fighting each other, the system never has to answer hard questions. That's the real victory for corporations. If you want more deep dives into K-pop's hidden strategies, scandals, power struggles, and the cost behind the spotlight, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like this video, and share your thoughts in the comments. Stay tuned, because the next chapter is already unfolding.